because I go to a Catholic school,
Yeah.
we pray every morning and every afternoon, and also before every class too. We say a morning consecration, and then also the souchape in the afternoon.
Say a prayer every night when I'm in bed. And then it does kind of depend on my day. Like if I am having a really stressful day, I say prayers throughout the day, whether it be like the Our Father or the Hail Mary or anything like that.
With my family, we pray before meals. We do like the blessing.
What I try to do every night before I go to bed is thank God for everything that he's given me, and then to ask him for help with whatever I'm struggling with.
I pray every time after and before work.
Typically, I do pray before I go to sleep. I got away from it for a while, but I got back into it.
I really like the Serenity Prayer. It really helps me center myself after a stressful day.
Before I go to bed, I'll usually pray maybe a decade of the Rosary or something, and then I have a few other prayers. And usually I'll pick some things to offer that up for.
Occasionally, I'll pray before bed if I'm very stressed.
I also, every night, I read at least one verse of the Bible.
My family usually says grace before dinner.
And then I also do a lot of free form. Sometimes if I'm driving, I usually say a prayer before I get in the car. And then when I arrive at my, wherever I am, I say a prayer.
For Christians, for people who believe in Jesus Christ, because God is a trinity of persons, the heart and soul and essence of our faith is having a personal relationship with God. And the way by which we do that, apart from the sacraments and living according to his law in our daily lives, is through the prayer life that we have. One of the most powerful and effective tools that I was first taught when I was in the seminary, and it's a way or a method that one can use in order to have interactive dialogue with God. It's called the pirate prayer, which is a very handy but kind of silly way to remember it. But the reason that it's called that is because it has 4 steps as a method. And it's abbreviated with the letters ARRR. And what it means basically is that you take a period of time, whether it's 15 minutes, a half an hour, or an hour, and you sit there. Typically, it's easiest to do this with the Bible, but you could do it with some other spiritual book that makes you think about God, or you could just do it with, something that's on your mind or on your heart that you want to talk to God about. So the very first stage, or the very first part of that method of prayer, A, stands for acknowledge. All that means is that you put a label on what is happening inside of you. So if you are feeling peace, you say, okay, this is peace, or it's joy, or it's love, or it's gratitude, or the opposite. The next step in this type of prayer is abbreviated with the first R, and that stands for relate. That is a fancy way of saying that once you've put a label on what it is, that you tell God what experience you're having inside of yourself as if he was sitting right there in front of you. Then what happens is after you've expressed yourself, you've told God what those deep thoughts, feelings, or inspirations that you've had are, then you wait quietly for God to do something else. That is the stage in which you receive from God what he is about in that prayer. Once we've received that gift, or that of the message, or of the inspiration, or of the insight, or the desire to go and do something good, or the answer to a question that we have about something in our lives, then we respond to God. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but when we do that, we're engaging God in a conversation. I wanted to offer that to you because it was one of the most effective and powerful methods of prayer I was ever taught. And it's done wonders for my own faith and for my relationship with God.
So one thing that I think praying has really helped me with is I stress myself out a lot, even if it's just like a really minor thing. So I struggle with that, and especially since March, my mental health has not been great. And that prayer has definitely really helped with that, just because it helps me center myself when I feel like things are kind of spiraling.
During my freshman year of high school, it was really stressful for me because it was really my first time going to a new school after spending 8 years on my old one. So I found that being able to pray and just talk to God about all my stress really helped to relax me.
Focusing on schoolwork, that's like something that's really hard for me, considering that we're not at school right now, and like my first day is tomorrow, like to go back to school. And I took some time today actually in like the morning and prayed for like a good day at school tomorrow, and that everything's gonna be okay, and that God will help you through the day and every day that you go to school.
My team, we always pray before a race, so that helps. Like we'll say the Our Father, and just we'll usually just freeform pray for a good race and everyone's health through the race, and that usually helps me like center myself and just focus on that one thing.
Sometimes just keeps me motivated, like when I just want to like not do anything at all.
The line, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I think that would be my phrase of the year for 2020. And that just really carried me through, knowing that I should only worry about what is pertaining to me and try and leave everything else just out of my mind until it is pertinent, or else I'm just going to drive myself crazy.
It centers my thoughts, and it allows me to kind of realize what is really important in my life.
There's no wrong way to pray. It doesn't have to be formal. You can, if you sit down and even say like an Our Father or a Hail Mary, it's something, and you can work your way up from there. Or if you just sit down and say like, oh, hey God, like this is how my day went.
Pray about whatever you want to pray. Don't feel like you have to pray about really any certain things. It's supposed to be like a conversation between you and God.
You should maybe find like a quiet place to pray. Maybe just focus on like one specific prayer.
Just stick with your prayer. Like even if like you don't do it sometimes, even if you stop, just keep doing it. Like he's gonna answer your prayer eventually. It might not even be in the way you think, because I certainly didn't think it was gonna happen in the way it did.
Definitely consistency, like finding a time that works for you, but then like actually how you're praying, I'd say you have to kind of try a bunch of different things to find out what you really enjoy and what works best for you.
Prayer isn't just like the Our Father, the Rosary, or anything like that. You can just talk to God.
The more you pray, the more that you're going to feel a connection with God.
I talk to myself all the time. So I kind of direct that to God in a prayer.
Try and get a routine for it. Don't just do it every once in a while. Try and do it more often.
You can't really pray wrong, so just kind of do what feels right to you.
It's okay to feel hopeless, and it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to ask someone for help. And God will always be around us. He's everywhere.
Start off with just Our Fathers and Hail Marys, and then you can just kind of go from there. And it just really helps you build that strong connection, and it just kind of helps you feel better about yourself, because then you realize that you're not alone and you always have someone to talk to.